somebody who actually understands these matters, who is following them carefully, is here to talk to us. That being the great Jonathan Turley, George Washington University law professor, constitutional law attorney, and Fox News contributor. Simple one to start with, Jonathan. What did you make of this? What did we learn from this hearing?
Well, from the accounts that we have gotten out of that meeting, they are breathtaking. You're talking about at least roughly 24 calls in which then Vice President Joe Biden engaged with the business associates of Hunter Biden. You're talking about meetings and dinners with some of the most corrupt figures in Europe. And Joe Biden calls in to say hi. They were talking about subjects like getting rid of the prosecutor in Ukraine. And then up pops a call from the vice president. You can no longer ignore this, despite the denials of many Democrats. What was really incredible was after hearing these statements, Representative Goldman came out and basically said, oh, he was just being a dad talking about niceties. Well, it's at some point, it insults the intelligence of voters. You know, we're looking at one of the most significant corruption scandals in our history. And I've been a critic of influence peddling for decades. I've never seen anything like the scope of this scandal. And yet, you know, we'll have to see which members choose the public over their party. And so far, we haven't had a lot of them coming from the Democratic Party.
Jonathan, this thing, terminology comes up. So you're saying 24 phone calls. I guess this chap Archer said that Hunter put Joe on the phone to, quote, sell the brand. Well, what's the brand? The brand is vice president, or the brand is influence peddling. I mean, it's not like soap suds. That's not the brand. And they're not talking about, you know, they're not talking about, do you like vanilla versus chocolate chip ice cream? I mean, why else would they do this? These are business thugs from places like China and Ukraine and Kazakhstan and Romania and Lord knows where. I mean, what does that mean, the brand?
Well, you know, the thing that many people don't realize is that the Biden family has been accused of influence peddling for years. Yes. This is their family business. The president's brother has been rather open in selling access to Joe Biden. So has Hunter. We saw that in some of these shocking messages where he was actually saying, I'm sitting next to my father, send me the money or we'll effectively ruin you. It was also evident in messages where Hunter Biden told his business associates, this is what we do. This is what the Bidens are good at. Well, it is what they're good at. They've made millions. But it's now falling apart because the Democrats lost control of the House and they have started to investigate these matters. And every day we reach a new shocking level of corruption.
I mean, this is the first, I think, absolute ratification of these phone calls, because Joe Biden has been denying all of it, and Hunter Biden doesn't talk much about it or tries not to talk much about it. And, you know, we've talked about the restaurant, Cafe Milano in Washington and so forth. But I think this is the first authenticate. I mean, this guy, Devon Archer, was in the middle of everything. He was Hunter's pal. He helped set up a lot of these funds, and he helped direct the money in the funds, and he was a liaison to Joe, and as we know, they all played golf together. So I'm just saying the significance, Jonathan, is that this insider, this dear family friend, best friend forever, as I call it, BFF, comes out and says this. And I assume he's under oath, you tell me, but that's the way I read the significance of this.
Yeah, he wasn't under oath, but it's still a crime to lie to congressional investigators. You don't need to put him under oath. And what we now know, I think very clearly, is the president has been lying. He's been saying for years that he hasn't discussed the business dealings of his son. He's had no involvement or knowledge. That was previously contradicted. People forget about people like Tony Bobulinski, who said that he actually sat down with the vice president to discuss business dealings. They forget the audio tapes of the president discussing business dealings appearing in the press. And so this just further demolishes those denials. But the question now is, why was the president lying? And it's fairly clear now that he was part of the brand, and the brand was influence peddling. He was the object of the influence peddling. It was influence and access to him. And the way that you sell it is to have him pop into meetings and dinners showing, I'm a phone call away, so you can ink that deal with my son.
The son wasn't good enough. These criminals from these other countries, business people, pardon my phrase, they needed to see the old man. The son wasn't good enough. I mean, the Burisma CEO said the son was no smarter than his dog. So now you got Devon Archer basically saying, okay, we upped it. We took it up a notch. We went right to the man, on demand. You said a couple dozen phone calls. I mean, I think that's very important. Next question is, Jonathan Turley, will we see a transcript of this hearing this morning? How's this going to work? Because I was surprised Jamie Comer wasn't there. I know Jim Jordan covered it, and he's the head of Judiciary, and he's on oversight. But can we get our pause on this entire transcript and see exactly what was, transcribed, but what was said?
Yeah, these sessions are usually handled in terms of questioning by the staff and by counsel. I expect they'll turn around transcript fairly quickly, so we should be able to see one within a couple of days. And then we're left with the question that Speaker McCarthy left us with. What do you want to do about it? And that is a very important question. You know, all the media and others that are pressuring him to move on. And you even had that question put to a Republican leader. Aren't you ready to move on, according to one of the networks? And in the meantime, McCarthy's getting all of this evidence. And the answer is, of course, you can't move on away from this. You have to find out what it is. We clearly have corruption here. I don't think there's any doubt about that. But you have to find out exactly what was sold and what was delivered. We now know the president played an active role in boosting this brand. We have to find out what they got for their money.
Just last one, Jonathan. In your judgment, in your considered judgment, I know there are a lot of allegations out there, particularly the bribery allegations. And also, I mean, the other way around, it was Joe Biden who coerced the head of Burisma to get $5 million for he and his son. I know there are allegations out there, but in your considered judgment right now, is the GOP or the House ready for an impeachment proceeding?
No, I think they're ready for an inquiry. I think that Speaker McCarthy is right about that. I've spoken to him about impeachment, its history. He clearly wants to get it right. He doesn't want to do what the Democrats did and do a snap impeachment, not hold any hearings, just go straight for the jugular. He doesn't want to do that, and I credit him for that. They clearly have a basis for an inquiry. Bribery is the second named crime in the impeachment clause.
Yes.
But you also now have millions and millions of dollars being transferred through a labyrinth of accounts to Biden family members. You have the vice president, now president's direct involvement in some of these meetings and dinners. And McCarthy was right to say, what do you want me to do about it? And the Constitution has an answer. They want you to find out what this is. And that was going to require a further inquiry.
All right. The great Jonathan Turley, thank you. We really appreciate it. We'll see what the next step is.
Thank you, Larry.